Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp., RMO, on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain's Brunswick property is located in the Rideout Shear Zone in Ontario, with grab samples running as high as 32 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program to test numerous targets located by recent groundwork is planned for early 2018. Please visit our website at rmroyalty.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is market historian Bob Hoye. He's the chief investment strategist for chartsandmarkets.com. Welcome back to the show, Bob.
Yeah, Jim, here we are, and it's Friday, and we've had a week of markets. Isn't that amazing?
The Canadian market, how has it been doing?
Well, we've been looking at the underneath it, the basis with the base metals. They were, you recall, they kind of got whacked when everything fell apart in January. And then we thought, well, you know, we can get a seasonal rally out to the spring, maybe around May. And for base metals, we did, although a couple of them had very sharp spike-ups in April and gave it up. And then copper in May did a sharp spike-up and gave it up. Now the base metal index is setting new lows, so the rally up to May is gone, and copper is giving up as well. So our view was that sometime after June, the base metals would be heading south, and they are indeed. The other one was that crude oil would be friendly out to, you know, around this time. We did call it the friends of the bull market, and crude oil, maybe it's technically overdone sort of now as we speak. Yesterday's action was good, so let's just take a guess that it's overdone. And but what we want to look at, the other industrial commodity that was absolutely outstanding was lumber, and it soared up to a huge technically overdone action in May and is now breaking down, but it's not given up as much, relatively speaking, as the base metals have. So,
Bob, it looks like we had another year where sell in May and go away would have worked.
You know, it's an old saying, and part of it, Jim, is due to these seasonal moves you can get in base metals, and the other part is the seasonal move you can get in the credit markets, and it seems to work. The other item is a saying that crude oil could be kind of hot enough to complete the move here now. And so what's that going to do for the Canadian dollar? It's going to head down because you've got an honest reform attempt going on in the U.S. to reform big and nasty government, whereas in Canada, the guys who are running things are still trying to build big and nasty, powerful government. So it's very unpleasant to see, and then we all suffer with the Canadian dollar going down. So any relates to goods and services, so the costs go up. So no, it's bothersome, but it's probable that Canada would follow at some time with the start of political reform. Will it be any more difficult to drain the swamp in Canada as in the U.S.? Of course it will be, but they start with the change in government in Ontario could be a good start. So this is always a challenge. You have to follow the financials and you have to follow the politicals. There's a market for financial items and there's a market for politics. And the market for authoritarian politics has been on for more than 100 years. And people are starting to realize that in your face and in your wallet, government really is intolerable and it's time to get rid of it. So we can see that starting in Canada.
We'll have more with Bob Hoye right after this.
I'm Greg Johnston, CEO of Carl Data Solutions, an industrial Internet of Things company that provides big data solutions for monitoring critical infrastructure. Carl Data offers machine learning and predictive analytics features through our cloud-based applications to deliver key asset-saving operational insights from massive amounts of data. Carl Data trades on the CSE symbol CRL and the pink symbol CDTAF. For more details on Carl Data, please visit carlsolutions.com.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Bob Hoye. Bob, digging a little deeper into copper, which I seem to recall was around $3.30, a little over $3.30 a pound. And now, of course, it's had a drastic drop. People have called it Dr. Copper in the past. Is this telling us that world economies are slowing down?
That one they actually call it, sometimes they call it that copper is the commodity that has the PhD in economics. But these days, I wouldn't brag about having a PhD in economics. That's paralysis of the mind. But copper's down to 280 here. It was, let's just see how high it was. Yeah, 330. Oh, that was only 4 weeks ago, 330 on that spike up. So it's taken out all of the rally, and it's the lowest it's been since July a year ago, when the low then was $2.70. So, and the other thing on copper, you're not reading anything about druggies going out and trying to steal the wire and getting themselves electrocuted. There's been none of that lately, because that was a few years ago when the real price of copper was quite a bit higher. And as tragic as they were an indication that prices were high. And one of the things about commodities, industrial commodities, is when the price goes up, people expand plant and equipment and mines. And then, on the other hand, users get a little more frugal. So the markets are wonderful things, and we'll continue to see more. But what we're looking for on the industrial commodities is, once they peaked around May, that they drift around and have gone down, like the base metal's gone down faster than we thought. And then after August, head down, because you have seasonal lows for these items. Like copper can be around November. I think a seasonal low for lumber around October. A seasonal low for crude oil, sort of December, January kind of thing. So that's going to look pretty ugly by the time we get there. And then there's other things, too, that when basic commodities are going down, seriously going down, that represents purchasing power and pricing power by a lot of businesses. You may not be directly dealing in copper, but because industrial commodities are going down, so often the wholesale and retail level of pricing power goes down. Then they have problems servicing their debt. And when that's happening, then you've got the credit rating agencies looking over their shoulder and saying, uh-oh, we're going to mark you down, and then bond prices get marked down. So this is why we like, for a basic investment in here, we've been in hysterically active financial markets. So you want to go someplace quiet where you won't get hurt. And the 3 to 4 year term corporate bonds, good grade corporate bonds, are an ideal place to be, because you won't get whipsawed on the price and you won't get nailed on the quality, but you'll make a little more money than being in 3 to 4 year treasuries or Government of Canada bonds. And the other thing is that if, for Canadians, buy some U.S. corporates, because then you will get the pickup from the increase in the U.S. dollar relative to the Canadian unit. So it's a very comforting, good place to be in anticipation of a financial storm. This weakness in industrial commodities suggests that it's the early stages of a financial storm. You've also had setbacks in the financial markets in Europe and Asia. The Shanghai market and the Hong Kong market have made new lows for the year, and so that's a hint. And oftentimes when you have financial disturbances in the outlying regions, they happen first, and then the disturbance eventually comes into the senior markets like New York or Toronto or London. That will eventually happen. And when, Jim, do these usually happen? They discover financial problems in the fall. So, and the path now is heading that way.
We'll have more with Bob Hoye right after this.
Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. Work programs are underway in Finland and planned for Canada this summer. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol ADD, on Frankfurt symbol 82A1, and the OTCQB symbol ASDZF. Please visit our website arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Bob Hoye. Bob, let's talk about human capital. Unemployment numbers for both the U.S. and Canada came out today, both quite positive. Do we have enough people to do all the work that we need to have done?
Oh, I think so, and particularly in the U.S., where you got a whole lot of people, millions of people dropped off of attempting to find a job, and the restriction of people coming in is going to allow more Americans to get jobs rather than recent immigrants. So, given some time, that will sort itself out. Of course, understand that the urgency by Democrats to bring in refugees, whatever you want to call them, migrants, anything else, is that they come in, they get on welfare, and Democrats provide welfare. So their big intensity about immigrants coming in, they see them as voters. And this is also in Canada. I remember decades ago going to a luncheon in Vancouver, and the speaker was recently retired from the immigration department, I think a deputy minister or something like that, and he listed about 4 rules and pointed out what the federal Liberals were doing, and they were not even obeying their own rules on immigration. And of course, as he pointed out, the reason was that they were importing voters. They don't care what the country is like, so long as everybody votes Liberal, and that's it. It's power. It doesn't matter what the country is. They need the voters to stay in. But as I said, the reform that's going on in the United States and in England, in Italy, the reform movement can eventually get going in Canada, and I would definitely welcome it.
Do we have any reformers? Because we did have a reform party and they disappeared.
Well, they got into the Progressive Conservative Party, and Harper rearranged it to the Conservative Party, getting rid of Progressive side, which is a dreadful name. And then he spent a decade trying to reintroduce the concept of limited government in Canada. And, of course, the media worked him over without mercy. But, you know, Harper was a polite man, but the media treated him as if he was Trump. And, of course, that was the same thing with Reagan further back when he was attempting to bring back the idea of limited government. And the media worked him through so much mud at him, and, of course, none of it stuck. So they then called him the Teflon president. But Reagan was a polite man. So this is what I suggest, that even if Trump was polite, he would be getting the same flack now as he is. So it's fascinating. The corruption in government is amazing, where traditionally the media is the fourth estate and is there to criticize policy. And what you've got here is that in the U.S. and Canada, the mainstream media has become the voice of government. It doesn't criticize government, it represents government. So,
well, Bob, a big part of that is that we've had massive layoffs at all the major newspapers and TV stations, where all the investigative senior reporters have been let go or forced into retirement, and the kids coming out of broadcast school are too scared to ask tough questions.
Oh, yeah. I remember about 25 years ago an interview with somebody coming out of journalism school. This was in the States, a young woman. So they said, why did you want to go into journalism? To change the world. Not to report on the world, but to change the world. Now talk about ego and ambition from a student. I hope that attitude doesn't maintain, but when you take a look at the media in Canada and in the United States, that's what it is. They want to remake the world in their ideal image, which is that everybody has to be controlled. So hopefully it's burning out. I think it is.
Well, perhaps they'll just start asking tough questions of everybody instead of cherry-picking who they ask tough questions of. Because I don't care what political party I voted for or who's in office. If you do something stupid, you're going to get asked about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And not just one side.
Oh, yeah, but then you've got the double standard. But as somebody quipped, at least with liberals and Democrats in the States and liberals in Canada, without the double standard, they would have no standard. So.
Bob, have a great weekend.
You too, and I hear you have a nice pub nearby.
Yes, I do.
Very good. Okay, we'll talk to you next week.
My guest has been market historian Bob Hoye. He's the chief investment strategist for chartsandmarkets.com. If you have any questions for Bob, you can send them to info@howestreet.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet, our YouTube channel, Talk Digital Network. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.